how do you pronounce your last name? Pessoa. Okay, go ahead.
Can you turn the microphone on? On the top, you're going to slide it forward.
Got it. All right. So hi everyone. My name is Allie Pessoa, and I'm an incoming senior at MHS. Our neighbors Chad and Balan, that's Chad. Balan couldn't be here because she's pregnant. They have a pretty incredible story to tell about how they became parents. Just over 4 years ago, Balan was pregnant with 2 beautiful baby twin boys when she began experiencing complications late in the pregnancy. She ended up losing both baby boys at 34 weeks pregnant after waking up in the middle of the night because she couldn't feel them moving. All of the excitement, all of the worries, all of the newness, all of the loss. They went to the hospital with 2 car seats in the car, 2 cribs at home, and so much anticipation, and they came home with no babies. The loss was so hard on them, and all they wanted was to become parents. Since then, they have had their rainbow baby Landon and are pregnant with their baby girl right now. We've grown so close to them over the years, running across the lawn to watch the football games or spending countless hours outside watching Landon learn to walk. You can't be with them and not feel their radiating love for Landon. These are their rainbow babies, the happiness after storm, the babies born after miscarriage. Since their staggering loss, Balan has wanted to do something in memorial of the twins. I've been looking for a community service project because I have a true passion for giving back and putting a smile on people's faces, and that's why I'm here today. Our goal is to raise $40,000 to replace the playground at Manchester Park with Hope Playground, in memory of the twins Liam and Noah, and in celebration of rainbow babies all over. We would love to do this at Manchester Park as it is walkable from our house, and there's plenty of parking and free access to the playground. We would be so grateful if the city would match our donation so we could cover the playground itself and the city could cover the landscaping, installation, and additional costs. We hope that you'll consider helping our dreams come true in this big undertaking. Not everyone has a story like Chad and Balan, but everyone does have a reason to keep hope alive in their lives, especially during the times we face today. What better time than now to rely on hope?
Okay, thank you. So your goal is to raise 40,000, I see here?
Yes.
You know what the approximate cost of the playground is? Or would be, I should say?
Well, we spent time looking at different catalogs and pieces of equipment and finding something close to $40,000 that we felt would be a good draw for both 2 to 5 year olds and the 5 to 12-year-old age bracket.
So that's what
So
you estimate the total
would
cost?
be the piece of equipment, yes.
Oh, okay.
And then there will be the cost of excavating the current site, putting the concrete borders, the wood chips, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
That's where she's asking if we would match that portion to help the project
Okay.
go in.
Board members, any questions, discussion, thoughts?
Do you have any idea on what that cost is? And so the common council side, the council say, hey, if we're going to match, good job, by the way. I have a daughter who's in your grade, so just an idea, a ballpark that says, hey, it's going to be 20 grand to put it in, it's going to be 50 grand to put it in from a budget standpoint, so they know, hey, maybe it can be part of another project, it can replace something. I think that would be helpful when it comes to the common council side to have that number or even a ballpark so that if they're saying, yes, we'll participate in this, we want to help, they know what they're saying yes to. It's kind of would be helpful. So, and I know you may not have an answer right now, but.
Well, so what we standard do now is once the piece of equipment is purchased, we get a footprint from the company and we know exactly what the area is.
Okay.
We would want to stay in the same footprint, so the excavation is really just removing the current wood chips.
Got it.
And pulling the posts out and stuff like that, which DP just did at Idle. So it would be a DPW crew probably doing the removal, which is zero cost.
Oh, okay.
And then it's whatever the current cost of wood chips and the concrete.
I like zero cost, by the way. That's a good cost.
So
Yes, I'll do that. No.
40,000 when we were talking in meeting is probably a pretty considerate amount for the install, which is usually about a third of the cost. And then we've been putting concrete aprons around all of our playgrounds for ADA compliant. We talked about some signage, some memorial signage that would go in as part of it if we need to replace any grass. So I would say we're probably going to be pretty close to the 40,000. I would say probably between 30 and 40
okay.
Once we look at the actual square footage of the piece that's selected.
Great.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? Scott?
Just a couple knowledge thing. Manchester is probably our oldest playground set right now. Idle Isle was our oldest one, we just replaced it. The swing sets are really good still. DPW did a really good fix on them, so again, keep the swing sets for sure. Don't need to replace that. But what Tammy said about the cost, I would say that we're right in the ballpark of doing it. But I think a couple memos down the way, I'm going to start talking about capital for the next 5 years. We don't have Manchester on it, but you know, one of the one playground we said we do is the big veterans, but the next oldest one is Manchester. I'm just letting you know that it's coming. It's going to be needed. If it's not on the 5-year plan now, it probably will be next year. So it is our oldest playground set, just in the city.
So you think in the next 5 years, you're going to want to replace that anyway?
Yeah, it's at that point, lifetime expansion, we're just keep throwing it. But like I said, we put enough fixes into the swings. They're in good shape. We'll keep that set. Usually when we always look at a playground set, swings are awesome. I have 2 kids, they love it. Swing, swing, swing. You know, so as long as, you know, this would be one set, we always like to throw the swings in there, but it's kind of nice to not to replace the swings.
So you would think that in that kind of 5-year, looking at the 21 through 25,
Yeah.
it would just be adjusting which year it hits
Yeah.
as opposed to, okay, got it.
Yeah, we kind of look at stuff. I mean, that's our next spot.
Yeah,
So, but
So that playground went in 20 years ago. That's about the standard life of a playground. One, it loses its appeal to the kids because it's very old-fashioned, and two, the plastic, to repair plastic becomes very hard because they don't make those pieces.
Yeah.
So like our tube slide broke out here last summer and we were without that tube slide for 3 months maybe, because they had to reconstruct the entire piece because it is not something that's in stock anymore, so.
Okay. So basically, once that playground comes out of there, it's not usable anywhere else.
No.
They're-
they're done.
They're done.
Once we take the playground set out, it's done.
The only thing I would think would be something that we might entertain, and that would probably be up to Ryan, if there are pieces of that that are compatible with Kurth and Schmidt Park, like maybe a deck or railings that are still in good shape, that we would save it to use for
Something we're
repairs
saving,
at a
right.
different park that is. We started at Idle Isle 22 years ago and worked our way across town. And then we swang back. So as you start heading back this way around the lake, those are all new. So going that way, all the playgrounds are going to begin that process of needing to be replaced.
Great job, Ally.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we need a motion to send this to, go ahead.
What's going to happen is this, you know, you guys, you got to make a motion to send it.
Right.
And how it goes is, what we were thinking, Tammy and I, was like a discussion at the committee of the whole. See if anyone would like committee of the whole. We had this little talk ahead of time, you know, they talk about it. You might come again, present it there. They all discuss it with everyone and they say, yeah, you know what, this is a good idea. Let's put it, they would probably direct me, Tammy, let's look, and Ryan, hey, let's put it in our 5-year capital plan. We're going to start talking about capital plans in probably the next month or two. I think we always go in front of the council in August. So it would be nice to kind of get her on at the end of June, July in front of the committee of the whole. Then I have direction. I can look at the 5-year capital plan for the parks, and then we can kind of include it and start getting it involved. But your suggestion would be like, hey, we think this is a good idea. We recommend this. Let's send it to the committee of the whole and have them just have a discussion about it. And then I think it's open, and everyone on the committee of the whole, it's all the council members. So it's best for them to talk about it, make a decision, and then give me direction, so.
Okay, is there a motion to have Ally proceed?
I'll motion that.
Is there a second? Second. Bill seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Thanks, Ally. Okay, next item is park update.
So I think, yeah, let's do the video.
Oh, video time.
Yeah, we're getting fancy here. I think Tom brought the video. We're using drones and some of the things, so. So I'm going to talk while the video's going and starts going. So we did some things here, and these are improvements in 2019. And some of them you can kind of start seeing them out there. Park Arthur Playground got done. You see that nice concrete ribbon, ADH, wood chips? That's what we were talking about with what we're doing at playgrounds. There's a new Park Arthur Pavilion. It's kind of between fields 1, 2, and 3 out there. We got electric out there. It was something else that was kind of requested of us. So it's kind of nice using our drone to kind of give you guys a nice picture of this compared to me just giving you a list of everything that's kind of going on. So, and we went with a red top there, and I thought it looked pretty sharp with everything going on. These are our new signs. I think you've guys seen them out a lot of places. This is Kurth Tennis Courts. We did that a couple years ago. And I don't know if you guys been out there. The tennis courts are really great. And if you remember the old tennis courts, you can see where the parking is. So what we did was we took the tennis courts down, the fencing, and we just put new parking there because it was kind of demand there during baseball field season and everything like that. And then we just built 3 new parks right there. That's the Kurth Park. We raised it all up. Remember, it was always in a hole. It was always draining bad. We raised it up. We put a nice concrete barrier around it. You can see the ADA ramps that are connected, and it's all wood chipped, and it's ready to go. It's kind of like a really nice, and you can use it now wintertime, springtime, so kind of nice. There's the Kurth baseball field. Last year, they put that fence in the outside, which kind of gives you a good idea. One of the last things that we kind of did for the field. And that's the main field that the Warriors use out there. It's kind of powerful, the drone, and I hope you guys can get some good ideas of what you do. Basketball courts, remember we told them we got painted. I mean, I don't know if anyone's aware that there's Jensen Park, but the basketball courts look really sharp down there now. You can also see out there new picnic tables, new garbage cans. We got them throughout the city as well. So.
And the temporary pickleball.
And temporary pickleball court. It's big demand right there. This is Idle Isle. This is the one other kind of new pavilion that we got out there. Also out there that just got finished is a couple other picnic areas. So they're all ready to go. The park playground set, from my understanding, just got installed, and they're waiting next week to do that concrete ribbon and then the wood chips, and that'll be ready to go as well out there. These are all the new lake access signs. So all these signs are it's done by a company in Muskego, and it's that recyclable milk cartons, so they last forever. It's kind of nice just to see it. And this is new Muskego recreational trail signs. You're seeing all those wood ones were hard to kind of take care of. We had to paint them all the time. They're falling apart. So those were some of the highlights that we did. So that's just kind of a list of the stuff that we're doing for 2019. Just to kind of let you know as well out there, Park Arthur 4, that project is out to bid for 2020. We just got the bids in. That would be the next one that we do for 2020, that field 4. Bike racks, Idle Isle, Park Arthur, Moreland, and Kurth. Concrete was poured last week, and they should have gotten installed. So we're ready, hopefully ready for summer. I know that they're being used a lot with the parks, with kids riding bikes around. Like I said, the playground set at Idle Isle, it's ready to go with everything. Also, too, we put a pathway around Idle Isle last year. We finished it up in a split rail fence, if you've been out there. So we're just doing the restoration work out there. So it makes a nice loop around Idle Isle for people to take a walk in. Old Town Hall, just to let you know, we just got the contract signed. The work is to begin soon. It sounds like, because we are going to do a rec program, we are going to do the roofing is going to get done first. Then Tammy will start with her kids in there. And then when the kids are out in August, we're going to power wash the sides, repaint everything, and replace all the windows, which will be a nice upgrade to Old Town Hall. The first beer garden got postponed for 2020. We have another date, which is all set up. They're beginning to have them in other communities. as things begin to open up, I don't see why they wouldn't be able to have it here, just to kind of let you know.
Do you know off the top of your head what the next date is?
Today?
Yeah, like, in a no.
It is in July,
Okay,
17th and 18th.
I know the replacement is at the end of July, correct?
It's July 17th and 18th. And then I think July 31st and August 1st.
Is the makeup date from,
Then we have a September date.
okay, thank you.
let you know, parks are open for business. If anyone has any question, baseball fields are been all prepped, ready to go. The games have started. Idle Isle's been busier than heck today. Just if anyone has been out there. Couple other things, and this was consideration before this whole thing started. We were supposed to have this meeting in April. Tammy and I have talked. We haven't done a park tour in a long time. I don't know how that would look. I don't know if we have to do individual cars. I don't know how it would work, because beforehand it used to be like you get on a bus, you would go in there, you jump 5-10 minutes at a park. We got new people up here. Some people, I hope you see from the video that there's a lot of improvements that are coming to the parks, and it kind of would be a nice thing for a lot of you guys to kind of look at. And it kind of ties into our Parks and Open Space Plan 2017 to 2021. It ends in 2021. So we got to update it. And you got to start thinking about it now so that we make a decision. Do we consult out for it? Do we use our own staff? And it's, just something for everyone to be aware of what we do. And that parks, if anyone who's on here and you haven't, read that Parks and Open Space Plan. It's really done well. The time that was taken, the maps, the descriptions, the details, it's a very good idea of where the parks were, where they want to go. It's a lot of stuff that we base off our capital projects. Is we go and revisit this plan and we say, what did they want? What was the request? Right, Tammy? They spent a lot of time. It's a really good plan document for everyone. So again, with the tour, and we can talk about it. One of the ideas I had for a tour is we started on a Friday afternoon, maybe the Friday afternoon where it was the beer garden. We do all the stuff, and then we end at Veterans, where the beer garden starts at 4:30. It's something that we just got to talk about, but we also got to find out what the rules are for social distancing. I think some, besides the committee, maybe some aldermen would love to do it, some new aldermen, but just something that we're kind of considering. So,
Like the way you're thinking. Video is very nice.
Yeah.
so
Good job. Any questions for Scott? Okay. Capital budget discussion.
okay. So again, I feel bad. It's like the last time we met, I proposed to you that we should meet 3 times automatically for the year, and we talked about it, and one was going to be in April, and then that got shut down. So we're still good and everything, but I think if you go to the next page, what I want to show you is this is something that you have to print out and kind of look, if you look at it, and you might have a better picture inside, but this is what we do. This is our 5-year capital budget plan that we look at, and we sit down, and it starts off with, we look at comments from the public. We look at programs that we're running through the rec program. Myself, Tammy, we all sit down, we kind of go over all the different things that we look at for the next 5 years. And this is our first crack at this. We kind of started this about probably, a month ago. I started sending this stuff to you and Ryan. We kind of went through kind of all the stuff that we do. And what I'm kind of looking for you guys, I don't need an answer now, and you guys can come up to me, but just to kind of see what we kind of look at in costs for when we do these parks in the next 5 years. Like some of the highlights out there when you see park safety or safety improvements, what that is this. Each year, we as a city got to get the fields, either rugby fields, soccer fields, baseball fields, just up to safety conditions. Once we do, it's a standard contract Then we release the fields to the baseball, soccer, rugby, whatever. So that's always like the cost in there. You can kind of see too, like if you go down the playground sets, wood chips, we spend about $10,000 a year on wood chips. We spend about $5,000 on miscellaneous playground replacement equipment. It's just a standard capital that we throw in there every year, and we use it, to take care of the playgrounds. Some of the big things that just to kind of highlight, next year, a lot of the projects that's going to eat it up is regrading of fields 1, 2, and 3. Park Arthur, if anyone's been out there, they need some kids played on there. It's a shame. Do those 3 fields would be $600,000. And I think I'm being light in that cost just on some of the estimates, but just to let you know that kind of been, and once you throw that big project in there, we don't throw anything else. And you can kind of see in there, it's like $635,000 just and again, this is us giving it to Common Council and then going through the capital and through the whole process. But it's something I don't know if you guys ever saw, but I think you should. And I think you guys should give us direction, give us feedback. I mean, that's what we're looking for. We only can hear so much from people and just kind of other ideas. Where you see in 2022, a lot of the building upgrades, and why that's important is these buildings, like simple stuff, like we think is LED lights for everything, epoxy flooring, bathroom stalls. We still have like the old metal ones out there that you gotta repaint, whatever. You see the stuff now, it's epoxy flooring. It's all the new plastic stuff. It doesn't cause mold. You go in there, you wipe it down. These are some of the stuff that needs to get done at these buildings that have been just lacking. And a lot of these, how we get these costs is we go out to contractors and we ask them so that we can put it in there. And then we re-ask them right before we go to capital. So we have hard numbers if we need to adjust them back and forth. Another big one, 2023, veterans. That's a $300,000 playground set out there. That's probably the biggest one and most used. One of the nice things that would be out there instead of wood chips would be one of those flooring. I think what Sandhill cost about, how much do you think Sandhill was? It was just $60,000 for the flooring, just that rubber mat flooring for Sandhill Park. So you're figuring at least $100,000 or more just to do flooring if you wanted to do a rubber mat out there. But that park is used festival. If springtime happens and it's warm, they're using that park. It's the most used park that we probably have out there. And then just kind of some other things, I guess, down the way, way off in 2025, and I keep pushing off, splash pad. Everyone's talked about it, back and forth. It was something in the open park space plan. The biggest thing is how do we man it? How do we work? But that's still a cost of $240,000, and it continues to get pushed a little bit. Lions Park, some request was to add a parking lot over there. People with pickleball, we are tending to park a lot of them around that cul-de-sac there. When we have pickleball, it gets really busy. Throwing another kind of 30-stall parking lot, and I guess some request was a bocce court too. So these are just different things that we look at. So just to let you know a couple other things too. Trails, and sometimes we get trails, sometimes we don't. When you do a project with a trail by itself, it's very expensive. You get these bids and it's hard to justify, but when you do a project, when you throw it in for a road program like Bay Lane did a couple of years ago and you put a trail on there, it's more justifiable with the cost. The last, I think, couple trails we got for just the cost estimates were $500,000. It's pretty hard to swallow. It's pretty hard for me even to sell to people that we have road issues, but we want to spend $500,000 on a trail. But when we look at doing reconstructed road for a bigger bang for the buck is when I would say, if you make a decision, that's when I say that you do it. And that's just, I'm thinking now dollars and cents and engineering wise. Because you got to do all the same things. When you do a road, you got to call hotline in. When you do a trail, you got to call a hotline in. You're doing the same kind of items. But the cost for asphalt will be way cheaper because you're doing large numbers as well. So that's why when you see on there, there's no trails. But I kind of broke it down for everything. Tennis courts, pickleball courts. Right now we're satisfied. We got how many, 3 active ones at lines and a practice one? Yeah. 4 at lines and a practice, and we now have a practice one at Jensen. The Kurth tennis courts, when we put the 3 in, that was the demand that we saw, that, and it filled that demand with 3. So those 2, you don't see anything really out for the next couple of years in that, so. Any other questions? I mean, and I don't need the suggestions now. It's more of just take a look at this list. Contact me, Tammy, Ryan. You know, it's just something I just didn't know. You know, we just don't pull things out of the air and like, hey, we this is why we're doing this. But it's something to just really look at that park and open space plan. It's really good. So, yeah.
What's happening on Hillendale? Noticed a lot of signs about, and you know, taping off trees and such.
Okay, so not a park question, but it's a road question. So what it is, the road is planned to get reconstructed in 2021. The road's past the point of just doing mill and relay. So they're gonna reconstruct the road, and when you reconstruct the road, because it's ditches, we need to upgrade some of the ditches. So there is some trees that are in the right of way. We need the ditches for stormwater. We can't put a pond in. We need it for good flow. If you ever see what happens out there when it storms, it shoots across that road, and anyone on the east side of that road, they get some stormwater issues.
Yeah, and then they call me, which they did.
And you see in some of these things, and these ditches need to be up to grade. The other thing too, and when I always say this, ditches are like clear zone. When you're driving along and I'm going a certain speed and a kid jumps out, a deer jumps out, and a person has to make a move, they sometimes have to go into a ditch. When you go in a ditch and there's nothing there, that clear zone, and based off the speed, it allows a person to recover in time. You know, you like, oh, I was able to avoid hitting that person, but I went into a ditch, but I recovered in time. In that clear zone, if you have a tree, you will lose. You will lose if there's a tree. You will lose if there's utility poles. You will lose. And why you have ditches, because we don't have storm sewer, we don't have curb and gutter, it's not an urban field. The ditches are designed to store the water, transfer the water. The other thing that ditches do really good too is in small events, the water infiltrates back into the ground. So that's kind of a nice thing when you have it. The other thing too, it's a safety thing. You gotta clear the clear zone so that when people or deer or something, and the speed limit is what, 30 out there, and I hear people tend to speed even more. You got to be safe out there. And there's a lot of driveways that are coming up on the east side, and when you see your sight lines are pretty bad, and you're never going to fix that because those driveways are, and those houses are in a hole. So that's what that talk is.
And those are all within the right of way anyway.
Correct. Everything, this project, there's nothing that we are not buying any person's right away. We are not in any person's right away, and we are working to kind of make adjustments to make sure that we stay out of everyone's right away and we minimize the impact of some of those trees. It's just that, you know what, the road hasn't been touched for 20 years and growth has happened. But now that's where we are with those trees.
Thank you.
If you see the best example, the school just did theirs, upgrades, and you see how nice those ditches are in front of the school and the ponds. It holds the water. It does really well. When the school made those ponds and those ditches, it has really helped with some of the drainage for those homes right across the street. So it's kind of a, you know, that's why those things are done. I don't want to, you know, stormwaters, guys, we are still dealing with issues from 2 weeks ago with all those stormwater. So it's a big deal around here. And everyone says we are not having these storms. We're having these storms now, I swear, once a year for sure. And it feels like it's in spring, and it feels like we're having a big one in fall. So. Is this helpful? I hope.
Absolutely.
I mean.
Thank you.
I hope this is helpful with some of the stuff I'm giving you guys, and I hope I'm not overwhelming you. But just to kind of see too is, and then when people ask you what's going on with the parks or why this is, this is kind of information for you to kind of then report back to them.
Okay. Thanks, Scott. All right, we'll go down to director's reports. Tammy, anything you want to say about your report?
Right there.
Summarize it after the microphone's sanitized.
I'm standing up because I've been sitting too long today. For us, it's been a very rough 2 months, just by the nature of rec programs and everything being closed. And our software makes it very hard for us to track how we're doing financially because the money we took in November of last year to cover the programs that were taking place January through May is gone. It was included in 2019. So we're operating at a loss for a lot of our stuff right now because we didn't have any revenue to cover that. But all of our programs are self-sufficient. So whatever we were offering up to that point was covered by those recreation fees. So when we get to the fall and we start our registration for next year, we'll have all the money coming in, but no expenses. So it will wash itself out, but it's hard for us to tell currently where we are. We started registration for the summer. We plan to proceed with doing summer programs. We made that decision with very heavy hearts, lots of discussions, attending tons of Zoom meetings, meeting with county health and all kinds of people, plus the State Park and Rec Association, to see how we could do this safely for the kids and the families. We made a lot of restructuring. We're doing a lot of our stuff, but we're limiting numbers to keeping it to a leader and 8 to 10 kids. We're doing as much outside as we can so we can space them. We've purchased forehead thermometers, masks, all of the necessary sanitizing things. So we feel very confident we're going to be able to do a good program. We just need people to register. We are down in certain numbers. We limited our playground program to 50 kids at each site. Last year we had 208 kids. We are at 30 at Old Town Hall and 22 at Vets right now. So we haven't even hit the 50 at each site. But we also have had a lot of parents calling because they're worried there wasn't a spot and they're just starting to go back to work. So they're not sure what their work schedules look like. So we anticipate by the time we start, we'll be closer to those 50 numbers. And we're not doing any field trips. We're not doing anything where we're taking the kids out. We've got a lot of strategies to keep the site separate, no cross-contamination. So I had a lot of hair loss in the last 3 weeks trying to figure out how to do this safely. And I met with the staff and I had them make that kind of final decision. I wanted their buy-in. They're the frontline people that have to make sure that everybody's safe, that the kids are obeying, the adults are obeying. So it was a consensus from them. They wanted to proceed. So when that happened, we had to change our book. We always mail our guide out 3 times a year, and we did not have time to mail it, print it, all that stuff. So we did it in-house as a digital book. I'm kind of hoping it will be successful and we can go to that in the future because I can go right into it, do an update, click publish now, and online it's the brand new information. So we've been able to indicate things that have been canceled, things that are full, and it saves us about $15,000 a year in our budget, which is huge. So it's just going to be an educating, information for people, hoping that it'll be included in the mayor's newsletters going forward so people know that it's out there. And then the last thing that I think we talked about last year was we had gotten council approval to staff Idle Isle, having somebody doing concessions and things like that. We did not have time to find somebody and get them there and order all of the things because we didn't know when that step was going to start. So once we get programming going, we'll look at filling that spot. I don't know that we'll do concessions. We might just do a rental of our equipment, which we can clean. We can hose it down, sanitize it, have it ready for the next groups to use, and then deal with the picnic rentals, but just not concentrate on, selling any prepackaged concessions because that's less contact with customers. So those were big things we had hoped for this year, and they haven't happened yet.
Do you push that stuff out on social media, like the programming, the book?
Yeah, it's on our Facebook page. It was shared to a couple of other pages, and then it's also on the city website, in 3 different locations. So the cost to mail a postcard, because we initially were going to do that, was $2,000, $1,800. So I was like...
Social media is pretty powerful and people talk, so.
Yeah, we've been, and I have to clear it with Barb, we've been debating doing an Instagram account because that's more popular with little kid programming stuff than Facebook is, but we have to make sure we can archive everything safely and
Yeah.
all of the stuff that goes along with that. So the book itself has had 600 like repetitive viewers that have looked at it for more than 5 minutes, which is pretty close to what we normally are at. It's had like almost 2,000 views, but that just means somebody going back and looking at it again. So we're not far off with not sending anything out from where we sent it out and then they looked at it online.
Any questions for Tammy? Thanks, Tammy.
Are you using the mic?
Yeah, you get to talk. You didn't bring a video, so you have to talk.
Yeah, the biggest thing, should I sit down like Scott did? I feel more comfortable if I'll sit
Okay.
down. So, the biggest thing, Danoon Park had 60 ash trees approximately that, of course, have died because of emerald ash borer. And a few years ago, we anticipated that. We planted a bunch of trees there, but part of a grant project, DNR grant money, we put into plant several more there. So we planted 30 trees there, bare root trees, earlier this year. That was supposed to be done with the Gridiron Club. And of course, that was canceled because that was a school function. They couldn't meet during the social distancing restrictions. So staff did that. I guess the other thing I would note that there was tremendous use of both Engle Conservation Area and Badisher Preserve. I've never seen so many people using the trails. The recreation trails in this city are packed. That's a good thing. And I think people have kind of rediscovered our parks and our conservation lands. And I would anticipate that they're going to be using these things after, things get back to more normal. The other thing, Eagle Scout project at Badisher Preserve, a really nice boardwalk trail there. And a lot of work with invasive species in our conservation land because we didn't do much burning this year. We did one burn at Engle Conservation Area. I think that's all I got. Question?
Scott, did you have much hunting in bed behind us?
Pardon?
Much hunting? Turkey permits or for hunting back there?
Yeah, there's one, Badisher Preserve allows archery hunting only. I don't think many people hunted at all, no. In fall, there's a little bit of deer hunting out there. I don't think anybody hunted turkeys this spring.
Well, there are a lot of them.
Yeah. So, anything else?
Have you had any trouble or noticed any trouble behind, on the Danoon trails? Behind like that, where the bridge is behind Elizabeth Court? You know what I'm talking about? Kind of goes behind the subdivision there.
As far as what problems?
Well, I know we've had flooding problems in the past going through that area. We've got a boardwalk through there. I haven't been out on it lately, but you haven't noticed anything?
Scott might know, or Ryan would know an update on that. I know, yeah, it did always flood back behind there. There's a really small,
it's real
undersized
low back in there.
retention pond back there.
Retention pond's
Yeah.
kinda full of
So sometimes it
things
floods.
other than water.
Right. So.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, Tom. Any miscellaneous business or communications? Questions? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion
to adjourn.
Bill moves.
I'll second.
Terry seconds. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.